Okay, so remember when we were going to do draws and stuff for stuff that you were going to win at Conquer Local? You guys remember that?
Sure.
So they did the draw for everyone who filled out the survey, and that was for like the HomePod Mini. And so they did it for me. So I'm just going to show you the video. And then we have the other one for the grand prize for everyone who completed the course. So I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Okay, do it. I don't know who won this one either. So what do I do? What am I doing? The suspense, everyone. So this is for the HomePod Mini. Marty Miller. Marty, are you here? Marty? Bueller? Marty Miller? Marty Miller. No? Okay, well, he won. You all saw it. We're also going to do the draw for the grand prize. And so that was like the Apple Watch and all those amazing Vendasta products as well. But one more thing before I flip it over to our amazing guests, we have Vish. He's our amazing, one of our content creators here at Vendasta. And he wanted to ask everyone and do a quick survey of what everyone kind of thinks was the most impactful thing of 2021 in marketing. So Vish, if you want to get a, what am I doing? Here we go. If you want to give a quick introduction, I'll share the link in the channel as well. I think he's here. Or maybe he left. Oh, maybe Vish is gone.
I see his name there.
Vish, where are
He's
you?
on mute.
Oh, Vish, you're on mute. I don't even see you yet. That's what happens.
Hello. Oh, sorry. I forgot. I forgot to wear my mask in the office. I was like, oh my God, I better go grab my mask.
There you go, Vish. Okay, set the stage for you. Do you want to give a quick little synopsis of what you're looking for with this survey?
Yeah, no worries. So, hi, Conquerors. My name's Vishal. I am a content marketing specialist or just a writer at Vendasta here. So I'm a journalist by background. So by that virtue, I'm curious about everything, including our incredible customers. So I really, really want to learn what you guys think are the defining moments of 2021 in marketing, and what the next big trends are things that are going to occur in marketing in 2022. So for example, was it the metaverse? Is it going to be the cookieless future from Google? So, well, if you know, as long as it pertains to how you guys help local businesses, I'd be really curious to find out about it. So, what Colleen has done kindly is put together a Google form to capture your thoughts just in a few short sentences. So we've sent that your way. If you could let us know what you think was the biggest thing in marketing to happen in 2021, and what you think will be the biggest development in 2022, that would be super awesome. And we'd love to quote you or even attribute that to you in the Vendasta blog. So we'll give you exposure on our blog. We'll promote it through LinkedIn. We may even do a video on it and credit you for your contributions. That's basically what I wanted to say. And we'd really love to have you involved in that piece.
Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. You guys all are saying that the link doesn't work because I don't actually know what I'm doing with technology, because of course I don't. Okay, try that one. Oh, sorry, I sent that directly to you, Donald. Okay, for everyone else. Giovanni, I know you guys. Damn it.
That worked.
That worked? Okay, wonderful. Okay. So I'm going to share it again. at the end. But if you want to fill that out, I know Vish would be so super thankful if you did. And then if you want to be featured in the blog, then super excited for you to do that. I know some of you have already been featured. So let's get the show on the road. We have Dori, Etter, and Neal Polachek joining us. So Neal is like an independent board advisor and member. So companies operating in the intersection of local business, small and medium businesses, and SaaS technology. And Neal's big thing is think like an app. And if you were at our 2019 conference in San Diego, he was speaking at it. So here's a great way to talk with Neal again. And so he often says that consumers lives their life through their phone and through their apps. So by reframing or reorienting around the notion of thinking like an app, business can actually meet the ever-rising customer experience and expectations in the modern customer commerces. And Dori, we have. So Dori, I don't actually know how long you've been working with Neal directly.
About 3 years coming
2.5 years, yeah.
3.5 years. Yeah. So Dori partnered up with Neal, and she's really passionate about the methodology that it helps small and large businesses and management teams, nonprofit groups. So I'm super excited to have them both here today. And they're going to knock it out of the park because they're super interesting. And I've been working with them for a little while to get some of their content inside the Academy. So without further ado, Neal and Dori. And please remember, everyone, to drop your questions in the chat because we will definitely get to them at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, Dori and Neal, take it away.
Thanks, Colleen.
Yeah. So glad to be here with you guys. And I know I have been joining the sessions for the last few weeks. I probably attended 4 or 5 of them just to get a feel for everyone and learn something, right? So we're all in this together. So I think thanks for that introduction. In addition to working with Neal here, I've been doing independent consulting to small businesses, strategy and marketing advising for about 14 years. In my own business before we joined up.
Yeah, and Dori's really brought a lot of sort of practical stuff to the notion of think like an app. When I talked about think like an app in the summer of 2019, right, Colleen?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
In San Diego. I mean, that seems like an eternity ago, given where we've come and been and going. I know. And whatever. And what we've been working together, and one of the really fundamental concepts that we sort of discovered on this journey is this notion of what we call the anxiety gap. And that's this point in time where customers, and in your case, clients, are considering you perhaps, but haven't made that decision. Or for your downstream customers, where their customers or prospects are considering them, but haven't made that decision to say yes.
So what we in the concept of think like an app is really the idea that these apps, right, we live in our phones, as Neal said. So as we live in our phones, the phones and the apps have become so skilled at training us, right, to engage in particular ways and to have a particular set of expectations. And if we think about the concept of the anxiety gap, the anxiety gap is something, we've called it the anxiety gap, but it has existed forever and it always exists, right? It's that feeling, that sense of, am I making the right choice, right? What are the things I should be thinking? What are the questions I should be asking before I make a purchase decision or take any sort of action? But the things that the consumer voices and concerns themselves with today are shrinking because we're being trained so much to do things in a particular way.
I just bought an electric blanket toppy, mattress pad. And, it took me seconds because I went to a place called Amazon. They had vetted all this stuff for me. I had no anxiety because they had given me enough knowledge about it in that and enough information about it. And I was ready to make a purchase in seconds. But in a lot of more soft things, that anxiety is there all the time. Why are reviews like 91% of consumers look to reviews to make purchase decisions? Because they're trying to shrink that anxiety gap. They're just not sure. And we believe that the core to shrinking that anxiety gap is building trust.
And I want to say, you know, we thought about what are we going to do for you guys today, right? Because we've got we could talk for hours, right, with the content.
Right.
So what are we going to do in 20 minutes? I think that the thing that we wanted to say is that as the agencies, your role, like what you're actually doing, what they pay you for, is to shrink the anxiety gap. So if I come to you, I am asking you to do the work to get that. What we say it takes to cross that chasm,
right,
really is trust. And we have the trust triangle. Do you want to go over the trust triangle?
Sure. The trust triangle, I talked about it. I'm pretty sure I talked about the 3 pillars of Think Like an App in San Diego: authenticity, transparency, and immediacy. In our minds, those are the things that separate good companies from bad companies today. And the companies that can really put their authenticity on display, be super transparent about how they do business, and do it with a sense of urgency, a sense of immediacy, are the winners in the marketplace today. And we think about this from the perspective of being more authentic. You know, we can all find the average provider out there, but average doesn't work in today's world anymore. Average is just, you know, it's a drive-by thing. Average is really not good enough anymore. And so authenticity is the thing that says, here are my values, here's what I'm about. You know, if our values match up, we're going to have a great customer relationship. If our values don't match up, that's okay. Go find somebody else whose values are more in alignment with yours.
And the key to the other, so again, we've created this trust triangle and this sort of simple method so that small businesses can kind of grasp what big businesses are doing, right? Because small businesses are not going to have an app, right? Whether you're an agency or one of your customers, right? The notion of you having your own app, that's not really what we're talking about, but we're talking about taking the experiences that the big businesses have, what they learned, and using it for yourself. And if you think about as a small business, authenticity is really the one place in this pillar or in this triangle in particular that a small business can stand out even more easily than a large business, right? So I appreciate Amazon and I trust Amazon, but I trust them more for their transparency and immediacy
than their authenticity.
Than I do their authenticity, right? So authenticity is a great a pillar that as a small business can really stand out. And of course, I'm sure you understand that your job as the agency is to help highlight and show off that uniqueness, that thing that is authentically different for for your customers.
The second piece is transparency. Transparency is about bringing customers into your business. And, you know, the big companies have figured this out. They spend a tremendous amount of time figuring out what they can expose back to their customers. And we think about Uber, the car coming to us. We think about the Domino's pizza tracker. We think about all these things, but at the small local business, your job is to help them figure out what they can be more transparent about with their customers so that they can get that same level of engagement, that same level of bringing the customer into the process. And this is where we really help solve a little bit of the anxiety gap, because we think about the 2 dimensions of offering up more information and more knowledge. When we talk about knowledge, what we're talking about is sort of contextual information about, you know, how to, what should I be thinking about when I'm doing a roofing job? The other side of that, though, is the information and the ability to showcase the process that a roofing job might take, or while somebody's in a roofing job, because it's these transparent moments that bring us deeper into the experience.
Yeah, and just to come back to that anxiety gap, the context of transparency is that you as a provider, and particularly in your case as an agency, you know so much more about what you're offering than the people who are buying from you. And the same goes for your customer's customer, right? And so this opportunity of transparency is to both use knowledge sharing, things like blogs and FAQs, to give some piece of that expertise and knowledge, enough of it for them to be able to make a purchase decision, to feel good about that purchase in that transparency. And then oftentimes the information sharing side is like status updates. Think about it as transactional things,
right,
that support me, again, feeling good about having made that purchase decision. And that's the concept of transparency. So again, you can see how that would shrink the anxiety gap. It would make me feel more comfortable with the choices that I've made.
And a lot of this anxiety happens even post-purchase. You know, my wife and I, we're getting all of our photos digitized. There's this company called Legacy Box. We sent all of our really precious little videos of our kids and 8mm, all these different versions. We sent them off to this company called Legacy Box. That's all precious stuff. And what they do so incredibly well is they keep me updated about the status of each step along the way of that stuff. It arrived safely. It's been labeled appropriately. It's now in production. They keep telling me to keep me, so I'm not wondering where this thing is at, where it is in process. And that's a super big opportunity for you all as agencies to help figure out for your clients, downstream clients, what they could showcase, what they could reveal, what they could offer up to even pre-purchase, after they've purchased, or post-purchase. There's a huge amount of opportunity there.
The third pillar is the pillar of immediacy. And, you know, really this did come from the idea that apps never turn off. So, you know, in today's world, to some degree, we do have to be available. And I don't like to use the word available. I like to use the word accessible, right? Sort of 24/7. So there's a place where even the small businesses, the ones that have a brick and mortar and we close the door, you know, if I have an interest in that at 11 o'clock at night, I need to have a way of being able to ping that business to say things. So, you know, that's something that's technology enabled. But when we think about immediacy, it goes deeper. It goes into this idea of caring and concern. Because if you think about it, if you are left waiting, or you have those, like what's really happening in any process, your experience is one of do I even matter to them, right?
Okay.
Do they care about me? And sometimes you have that sense or that feeling like someone only cares about you as a transaction. So the idea behind the immediacy is, what kinds of things can you do that will empower and support a customer to feel like you care about them, to feel like they matter? And probably the most powerful concept that falls into immediacy, so again, we're kind of shrinking the different things, but one of them is friction points. And as a agency, I'm sure you absolutely understand the concept of a friction point, that it's anything that sort of slows down that process of discovery, of purchase, of engagement. And a lot of times it's technical, but it doesn't necessarily have to be technical.
You know, I'm going to give a story about immediacy. So I've lived in the same town up in Northern California for 30 years. There's a great bagel store called Barton's Bagels. And for 29.75 years, imagine the cash register here, and at the other end of the bagel cabinet or the bagel display area were the sesame, poppy seed, and plain bagels. And those are always the most popular. You can tell because the bins are the largest, there's the most in them. And so I was in there recently, and I had noticed that they had moved the poppy seed, sesame, and plain bagels right next to the cash register. And I thought to myself, well, that is a process improvement that's around getting rid of friction points. Because what was the friction point? I'd go in, I'd say, I want 6 poppy seed bagels. The employee would walk all the way down to the other end of the cabinet and then walk all the way back and all the way down and all the way back. Now, if you multiply that out times, hundreds of customers each day, the opportunity that the time that they have saved for their employees, for their customers, reducing that friction time is exponential, because now that person just literally reaches in, pulls out the bagels, cash register gone. And when there's a line and people are standing 6 feet apart and it's out onto the street, this really matters. Speed really matters.
And I think it's, and it is, the concept of it is speed, but I think that what's most interesting about that story is that Neal has been going to that bagel shop for
30
years, right? And it immediately triggered that it's a different experience, right? Because the whole concept behind the trust triangle, the whole thing we're doing with Think Like an App and the anxiety gap is really about moving to a customer-centric perspective, really focusing on customer experience, distinct from simply focusing on the internal view. This is really about moving, stepping out and moving into the perspective of the customer itself. And we have, so especially because we are here with Vendasta and some agencies, we've really mapped these concepts of authenticity, transparency, immediacy to the technologies that empower that. Because in today's, obviously, in today's age, we don't have the choice of not engaging in technology. And I'm having a technical issue. I'm trying to open my grid. Let's see if I can make this happen.
Put a check mark on it.
Hi, I also always have like a technical issue for like 30 seconds or every 30 seconds. So it's okay.
Oh, okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. All right, give me 1 second.
And what we've done is we've mapped all the tools that are out there, all these SaaS tools that are really good and really simple to use, to the pillars of authenticity, transparency, and immediacy. Things like chat are really focused on immediacy. Things like the website are clearly a place where the authenticity has to be very obvious and very straightforward. So, and the great thing about where you all sit today is you have access to all these tools and all this software. And if you put these constructs together between the notions of authenticity, transparency, and immediacy, our view is that there's a ton of opportunity with your clients to help them do a better job in demonstrating the importance of these pillars out there.
Yeah, so it's always user error. So, and maybe not in your case, Colleen, but in my case, for sure, that was absolutely user error just now. When I realized what I did, it made me laugh. But the thing that, to that point, right, as you are working with customers and you're looking at ways to grow and expand how you support your customers, this framework of authenticity, transparency, immediacy can be a really powerful one that they can really understand. And if your customer can understand this, you can use this framework to help them see the benefit of additional services that you offer, additional products that you can bring to bear in their business. So, it's really simple, and we're not going to go into all the elements of it, but I wanted you to see this idea that there's a way to match the why, or what each one of these tools brings to a small business using this simple authenticity, transparency, and immediacy. And sometimes that's the thing that is in between one of your customers saying yes to your next sort of opportunity with them. It's really around them not understanding the why that is relevant to their business. So this framework can support that. So we wanted to make a couple of things available to you. And I'm going to be really honest, we've had a super busy week working on recording a course. So I didn't get the one sheet done today. I will complete it next week and get it to you, Colleen. And really what it is a simple framework that I'd like to make available for you to be able to offer to your customers. So it's not for us. We're not trying to get your customers. I just want to give you the tools to introduce this concept and see how it's beneficial and powerful to you. And then if you really want to go to the next level, I've created a values discovery exercise. So I really do believe that all small businesses need to really understand their values, and that that's a key differentiator when they're in the marketplace. But a lot of them, one, don't know how to do it or have a fear that it's really complex. So I've created a really simple tool for that. And if anybody on here wants that, I want to give you a version that you can rebrand for yourself. You can completely take our stuff off of it. You can use it with your clients. So if you want that, just, I think it would be easiest to either email me or Colleen. I don't know if there's a way that people can let you know that and I can get it to you, but I want to create something that you can just rebrand. You don't even need to have our names on it. I just think it's really valuable for small businesses to be doing that.
You know, we can
share it in the community too.
Okay, great.
We've been doing this session with your types of customers, downstream customers, for over the last 6 months. And the feedback we've gotten is that 85% of those we've shared this stuff with are going to implement something that we talked about during the session.
Have implemented.
Or have, have.
85% of this, we recently did a survey, and 85% of them said that they have applied these concepts into their business. So, you know, and we shortened things for you guys because it's 20 minutes. But we've got some tools and some exercises, and our intention is really to just empower you.
So, you know, there's opportunity here for you all to share this downstream. And I think there's an opportunity for you to get some additional business from your clients this way.
So that's really the content that we have to deliver to you today. We are now here for some questions. I see a little
There's a
question.
lot of bagel chatter.
Yeah. But I also see, Colleen, you posted a question, which is, why does live chat not map to authenticity? You know, it can. And in fact, when I'm talking to people, sometimes I do use that. But really, the distinction, I really think about chat as the thing that is not live chat, more like chat bots. So that's what I kind of think about in that. You can use a chat bot. Like, there are some of the chat tools let you put a personality, so to speak, in the way that the questions are asked and that type of stuff. And I think that that is another opportunity for authenticity. But I'm just on that grid trying to be really sort of, you know, clear with people. So it's not that it's not.
Can you share that on the screen again?
Absolutely.
It's okay if it takes you a minute or so with more technical difficulties. That is a-okay.
I was going to say, I don't think it will this time, because I
just say that the file is so large that it has to take a moment. See, it just had to take a moment. It's fine, everyone.
Yeah. So, yeah, and
this is not a pure science that where we've put these. We've thought a lot about it, but you know, there's some gray areas in those middles.
But we do, you know, what the other piece that we're working on, and we actually just pulled together a really sort of, it's kind of long, actually. It's about a 20-minute overview of what each one of these tools do and why they hit authenticity, transparency, and immediacy. And then we created sort of a, you know, where do you start with authenticity? Where do you start with transparency? Where do you start with immediacy from a tech implementation perspective? So I want to get to a place where I can be a little bit prescriptive, right? So a small business who really doesn't understand how some of this works. I'm sure that some of you as agencies run into, you know, you understand the spectrum
of small
as
business
I do, right?
Sophistication.
Yeah, of the sophistication.
Or lack thereof.
And so sometimes being prescriptive is helpful, but I also find that if I can give them a why I've given them that prescription, it is easier for them to adopt. Again, it's about reducing the anxiety gap.
Question in here, what are considered digital campaigns?
So again, it's really broad, and it really is all the stuff that you do. So it's all the stuff you do. It's social media types of things. It's paid advertising. It can be, you know, it can be marketing automation, and typically it's a combination. So that's the other thing, is we kind of group them together, because obviously CRM and marketing automation are
tightly aligned.
Yeah.
You know, we have reputation management that includes reviews in there. You know, we think about scheduling and appointments. That's a really easy way for a business to sort of be much more transparent by posting their available hours or their available time slots.
Right.
A lot of, you know, salons are doing that because that puts control in the buyer's lap, sort of, to pick the time. And it really, you know, demonstrates that they're not going to keep this calendar behind a wall. They're putting it out there for people.
So Kathy, your question of what exactly are you offering? Do you mean what are we offering to you guys today, or what's the?
I think she's nodding her head.
Yes,
Okay.
I'm nodding my head. I am confused as to what exactly you're presenting. I mean, I understand the whole scope of the triangle but what's your product? I guess that's where I'm trying to go.
We don't have a product for you. That's not, yeah, we just want to, honestly, what we're trying to do is give you some information that can be beneficial as you talk to your customers. Like, we really do believe that the trust triangle and this authenticity, transparency, and immediacy is a conversation that if you have it with, again, there's a sophistication level that is spread across the board. And for some of you and your businesses, this is going to feel really basic. But for some of them, it's a whole new way of thinking about how to become customer centric, instead of that focus on, you know, how do I make money? What am I doing? And there's a way of pulling that together. So that's all we're trying to do, is give you that. And in the realm of an offer, right, again, I just want to, you know, give you the opportunity, if you want. I've created a values creation exercise. I've taken hundreds of small businesses and some very, very big businesses through this exercise in the past, and you can have that and use it with your own clients if you'd like. Rebrand it, put it out as content, anything you'd like.
I think Kathy wants us to sell her something, so we got to think about what.
Kathy, for you, it is $5,000. Everyone else has it free as a gift.
Wise ass.
David actually mentioned
Thank you for
something.
the question, Kathy, though.
David just made a comment. Great example with Legacy Box. I've used them as well and was pretty impressed with that communication process. David, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, or.
Yeah, no, it's just, I did it about a year ago as a gift for my dad. And like I said, it was kind of interesting to see the process. I will say though, and then I actually did, it was so great the first time I did it a second time. They actually had a gap the second time. It wasn't a huge deal, but there was a communication gap where I was waiting for a couple of weeks to say, okay, what's going on? And apparently it was on their end. They thought they had sent an email saying that, I think, you know, I had added too many photos. And so there was a missing payment or something. So it wasn't 100%, you know,
but they're onto this. But they're onto this.
Yeah. I mean,
David.
They understand the value, like you said, like this is really valuable stuff. So they took it and they were apologetic. I mean, they made up for it. It wasn't horrible, but.
Yeah. But you know, what's interesting, David, if I could talk to them and tell them what they should do, they should now start taking pictures of that process too, and including it in that email, because that would bring me even tighter into that experience.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Visualize it, help you see what actually the process. I mean, instead of just using kind of words and the bullet points like they do.
Because we're humans, and we're more visually inclined than we are text inclined in life these days. And I think they have a really big opportunity to take that correspondence to the next level.
But it's overall, it's a great example of, you know, the kind of thing. And look, I don't know everything that you guys do with your customers. I've worked with some agencies, and in some cases you're actually writing email sequences, and you're doing copywriting, and you're helping them to develop these, you know, processes and structures that they're going to use the technology to implement. And this idea that Legacy Box, this stuff is really important and valuable. Well, what if we thought everything that we offered was really important and valuable, and we treated it like, I'm going to really show you that I care about, you know, giving this to you and serving that way. So that's the framework or the concept. And again, it's just simple in a way that a small business can think about it and focus on it, but it can be really impactful.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and we're, as consumers, we're being trained to expect this more and more.
Right.
You know, we know our package is coming from Amazon. They keep us notified. So the opportunity to move that downstream to the local business, the smaller business, I think is vast. I really do. I mean, I know I probably spoke about this a couple of years ago in San Diego about the moving and storage company, where they get all these inbound requests like, where's our stuff? And I told the guy, look, turn that around, send out a message that says your stuff is here. He's got a sensor on the trucks. And then Dori said to me, and then they should send you a map and show it moving. Think
Right.
about the opportunity. Think about the anxiety that goes down when you see your stuff moving in the moving van across the country. I'm not wondering, like, is it stuck in Wichita or wherever it
Right.
is? And so there's just so much opportunity in these three, thinking in working with clients to think through these pillars, to think how they can really raise their game in terms of how authentic they're presenting themselves.
Yeah.
Exactly. Airlines.
Well, and I just want to say that the whole point is now that's a marketing differentiator, right? Which that's where the focus is. Now I can say, hey, you know, don't go with Bob's moving. Where's your stuff? Is he going to tell you?
Mhm.
But instead you've got, here's a tool. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Right. And so anyway.
To Jim's point, you know, United got really smart.
Yeah.
Well,
Tim.
let me talk about Jim's
And
point
then
about
I'll answer
the
Tim.
airlines.
Yeah, go for it.
You know, United got really smart about, wait, if you landed in Denver and you had a connection, they started to tell you that your gate is 20 minutes away. It's leaving at such and such a time. So before they knew how far away it was, they just didn't expose that. They weren't
Right.
transparent about it. That transparency made it less anxiety, because you know it's the gate is 20 minutes away by walking.
Right.
So the question that Tim has is a really fundamental question.
Yeah. Has the anxiety gap increased over the last 2 years? I think the answer is yes. I think it's also been increasing
For a long time.
Yeah. And over the last 2 years, what we have is, well, across the board, I say we live in a world of anxiety, right? Like, and more than anything, we're looking for something to bring our anxiety down than ever before. We used to think that information, you know, that I, you know, if I had more, so, you know, the internet's going to make everything so much better. And in reality, this increasing choice, the increasing has just brought all of this up. So that people want a reason to, exactly, the Net Promoter Score. People want a reason to make a choice. People want a reason to be able to say yes. They want a reason to feel comfortable and you know, content with their decisions. And so we're just, you know, it's a way to do it.
You know, back to that legacy box stuff, they make a point of telling you that they're going to tell you how it's going.
Right.
Because they know that anxiety is, you know, when we put that stuff in that box, we're shipping it off and we don't know where, you know, we are anxious about that.
Right.
These are our memorabilia. This is our lives that we shipped off in a box.
Right.
And they know how much anxiety is in that. So, you know, and they're really smart about how they manage that anxiety.
So Stephen dropped something in the chat. He said, for each category, I see the unspoken objection you are presenting that a customer may have.
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly. The whole idea is that this is happening, right? It's happening whether they're articulating that or not articulating that. And if you can use this framework to begin to get in front of the thing that the customer is already thinking.
And, you know, I think the notion of transparency in all these things, you know, you say, okay, I'm going to hire the plumber. The plumbers need to do a better job of exposing their process to reduce anxiety. Or when you're about to hire a plumber, they should be telling you and showing you in pictures what that process is going to be like if they're going to replace a water heater. I mean, and it's simple stuff. This is not that sophisticated. It's
Right.
just rethinking around the way that apps engage us to sort of embed that into how these local small businesses, retailers, service providers, whatever, are doing stuff. I mean, it's the notion of the open kitchen and the menus in a lot of restaurants today. The open kitchen is about revealing how they do it. It's being more transparent. And then they put all that where they source all the ingredients. That's all about transparency.
Do we have any more questions for folks? Because I wanted to make one more point, which is that we've really been talking about this authenticity, transparency, and immediacy as to how you can guide your customers to be more, your clients to be more authentic, transparent, and immediate to, enhance their growth and development. And we just want to mention that you can also use these tools, and you can think for yourself as you are looking at prospecting and engaging with customers. How can you as an agency be more authentic, more transparent, and more immediate in your engagement? Because it does actually apply across the board.
Any more?
Any other questions, Colleen?
Anyone have any other questions? I have a couple things to go over, but I want to make sure everyone has some question or has ample time to ask anything they need. Like, I'm just going to throw it out there. Like, I haven't heard Robert talk, and I like, maybe his microphone's broken, but I'm not saying he needs to ask or talk. I'm just kind of mentioning that. How's everyone feeling?
Awesome.
Oh, fuck.
I'm not gonna say anything else. It's it. Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you guys for your
cider.
time and attention. It's really, yeah, we appreciate it.
Okay. So who wants to know who's going to win some stuff? Anybody? Maybe? Kind of? Possibly? Okay. So I'm going to do the grand prize draw. So this is if you completed the course from when it was launched at Connect to yesterday at like midnight or something. And so this is for the grand prize. We got an Apple Watch. We have one free website up to 3 pages and website support for up to 12 months. We have 1 free blog post, 5 free local business online toolkits. So that means advertising intelligence, customer voice, listing builder, Yext, listing sync pro, social marketing, website pro, and advanced reporting. Oh, mouthful. Okay. How do I, guys, sharing my screen again. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Grand prize goes to like National Lampoon Christmas. Oh, Mitchell Slater. That guy. He's not even here.
Right.
Well,
They should be at least be on
Winner
the call.
need be present.
God,
I saw
damn
that
it.
in
ditto that.
the little
Definitely.
script.
Yeah.
That was, yeah, employees must be present to win.
Win.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, thank you. Happy holidays, everyone. I hope you all eat too much, drink too much, have too much fun, be safe. You are all amazing. Thank you, all of the Conquerors. Happy holidays from Vendasta.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Time.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.